If you've ever wondered why your sourdough starter seems unpredictable, like let's say you feed it, but sometimes it's too runny, too stiff, sometimes just off, well then this video is for you. Most home bakers don't struggle because they're doing sourdough wrong. They struggle because no one's explained how the starter thickness affects everything. And they don't know how thick it should be or could be. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 very common sourdough starter feeding ratios: standard, thick, and thin, and exactly what each one looks like, feels like, and is best used for. By the end of the video, you'll know how to adjust your starter for your kitchen instead of following rigid rules that really just don't fit our real life. Before we get into feeding, let's take a quick step back. What is a sourdough starter? Well, sourdough starter is simply a living culture of wild yeast and beneficial bacteria. It's what naturally leavens your bread and encourages gut health. These organisms eat the flour, they produce a gas, and that gas is what makes your bread rise. And when we feed a starter, we're not just keeping it alive, we're controlling its strength, speed, flavor, and acidity. That's why how you feed it, not just when you feed it, matters so much. I hear this all the time. My starter is alive, but my bread is inconsistent. I'm not getting the same results. My starter rises, but sometimes other days it doesn't. It smells way too sour too fast. And most of the time, the issue isn't your starter, it's the feeding ratio and the thickness of your starter. So when I say ratio, like 1 to 1 to 1, I'm talking about starter, flour, and water. The amount of water compared to your flour determines how thick or thin your starter is, and that controls how fast it ferments. Before I begin, let's clarify that when you begin feeding, you want to take note of your starter's consistency. If it's already thin, you will want to feed it a thicker ratio. If it's already thick, maybe a thin ratio would be enough. So let's get started, shall we? Let's talk about 1 to 1 to 1. This is the standard starter ratio. This is the most common feeding ratio, 1 to 1 to 1. It's the equal starter, flour, and water. When starting with our starter, we're going to want to look at our starter's consistency. Now, this is a very hungry starter. It is running off the spatula. It has been maybe 2 days out on the counter without being fed, and it's just running off of the spatula. So let's feed it equal parts. This is 50 grams. We're going to feed it equal parts starter, flour, and water. So I like to start with the water. So we're going to turn on our scale. We're going to be in grams. And I'm going to add 50 grams. 51. Let's call that good. And then I'm going to mix that up. And then I'm going to add my 50 grams of flour. And I'm just going to mix that together until it is not chunky anymore. And I'm going to clear the sides. And then there is our starter. So this is still, it's thicker than it was, but it is still running off the spatula. It's super glossy. And this is kind of what I call the starting point. From this consistency, you can determine if you need to add more flour or add more water. If your starter rises within 3 to 4 hours, this will be a good ratio. And so that's, if you're really not sure, then that's what you're going to do. You're just going to set it aside. If it doubles within 3 to 4 hours, then you're good with this thickness. Now let's look at 1 to 2 to 1 ratio. This is 1 part starter. So we have our 50 grams of starter here, 2 parts flour, and 1 part water. So I'm going to do 50 grams of water. Oops, that was too much. I'm just gonna dump some of that out. Now, in another situation, I would not worry about it. I'll just add a little bit more flour. But this is why I don't measure when I feed, because we just don't need to worry about it. But that was exactly 50. And so now I'm gonna add 100 grams of our flour. Okay, perfect. And then I'm going to mix this together. And as you can see, it is almost too dry. It's not going anywhere. But this is what they call a stiff starter. It's almost like a dough. It's dull. It's scoopable. You see that? It's not going anywhere here. So thicker starters, and here's a view of the starter. It's very thick. It is not dripping off this at all. So in here, I'm gonna clean up the sides, but the thicker starters ferment slowly. They stay mild and they don't get acidic so fast because the amount of food in this is so much greater. So it takes a little bit longer for the entire process. So this could be good, like if you're gonna be going on vacation or you're not planning on making bread for a while, you can feed your starter pretty thick and it will sustain itself. And for our final demonstration, I'm gonna show you maybe what's like a more practical everyday starter. It's not too thin, and this is like 1:1 to 0.75. So it's like a little bit less water than the other one. And especially because this starter already has quite a bit of liquid in it, we don't need to worry about that so much. So we'll probably do somewhere anywhere between 37, 38 sounds good. I'm gonna mix that up. And then add the 50 grams of flour. And this is where I like to feed my starter. A little bit thicker. Even this could be a little bit more wet and that would be all right. So here it's not falling off the spatula. It's like coming together pretty nicely here. But it's pretty glossy. And this will produce a pretty happy starter. You can see this is a thicker than pancake batter. It's kind of closer to a yogurt or a soft paste. This slows fermentation just enough to make your starter more forgiving. And this is why I like, and I teach people to feed their starter to this, because it will most likely double within the 3 to 4 hours with no problems at all. If your starter peaks too fast or it collapses quickly or it feels unpredictable, this ratio will be a game changer for you. So none of these ratios are right or wrong. They're just tools. Thicker starters ferment slower and stay mild. Thinner starters ferment faster and get more acidic. So a 1:1 standard starter is going to be a little bit runny. It's like a pancake batter. Our stiff or thick starter is literally going to be scoopable. Like I'll have to like scoop it out of here. But there is what it looks like in there. This is like more like our dough. And then our third ratio is somewhere in the middle. So it still has some drip to it, but it's pretty thick. I need to scoop it. It doesn't like just wash off my spatula. Your starter should look alive, smell pleasant, and rise. You're not necessarily looking at a clock. You are looking at its texture, its growth, and paying attention to its smell. So I wanted to share some of the up close. This was the beginning, right after I had fed it. So this is the first one, our 1:1:1 mixture, glossy, dripping. This is our second one, which is the stiff starter. As you can see, it is not moving. I would need both hands to pull this out. And then our third one, which it is like kind of right in the middle of both of them. It has some thickness to it, but it's also a little bit of wet. So my kitchen was cold. This was 4 hours later and still not much of a change. So I decided to wait. And this is actually the next morning. Look at how much that had doubled overnight. So when in doubt, give it more time. Sourdough has felt overwhelming. I want you to hear this. You don't need more rules. You just need to understand what it is that you're doing. Once you know how to adjust your starter, you will gain confidence, and confidence changes how you bake. Sourdough is never about perfection. It's about learning a living process and trusting yourself in it. Thanks for being here. And if you found this video helpful, like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.